Have a seat on your porcelain throne. It's time to talk some shit on the Powell movement.
Welcome to the Powell movement. I'm your host, Mike Powell, and before I start talking about the incredible Outside Days event that I went to in Denver, I'm going to talk about politics. And I know politics suck, and for a long time, I was of the belief of keeping politics out of sports, keep them out of podcasts like this one, keep them out of everything they really don't belong in. And while not sharing how we really feel is an easy way not to rock the boat and piss some people off, I really think it's time for people to be real and out there with their feelings before things get even worse for everyone but the rich white guys out there. So now, I feel like if you're silent with your beliefs, you need to do more than just bitch about them with your friends. While everyone I know is pissed off about what's going on, I only see myself talking about this in a public space and not giving a shit what people think, and I really like to think that if everyone said something, it would start making a real difference. The time to hide is not now. I mean, this huge festival that I just went to that had things to do with public land and climate change and so many things, and not one person that I saw had the guts to point out any of the bullshit that's going on. Not the bands, not the athletes, not the magazines, not the media. And the new American Red Hat Party, they're taking over. Our sitting president, he's a rapist, a pedophile, a liar, a cheater, and a total fucking piece of shit. We all know that. And I'm not going to comment on the reports about him shitting his pants in public, because while I saw the video, it's really hard to confirm when someone shits their pants. But it's fun to bring up bowel movements on the Powell movement, and that's why I did that as well. And I get it that there's still people out there that love him, and they're looking at their stock, and they're like, the market is over 50K. And they don't care that people can't afford health insurance because the Ayatollah took the subsidies away. And they probably don't care about the whole food stamps thing that's going on either. I mean, we're taking food out of kids' mouths, but we will have a really nice ballroom that will be drone-proof. It is going to be amazing. And it's all about money, and I guess money is really important. I talk about it all the time. And while the market's up and that helps everybody's 401ks, and that's great for me because I have a 401k, I'm fortunate enough to have one, not everyone does. And the people that don't have a 401k, most likely they're the same people that really need that healthcare subsidy. I mean, shit, if that healthcare subsidy was still around, I probably wouldn't be working 2 jobs and emceeing events on the side. But I pay my taxes, unlike a lot of those rich assholes like our president. So that's my political rant, and I really think that you, whoever you are, should really start letting how you feel out. Put it on social media, let people know. If more people say how fucked this world is, maybe it will do something, because everything else that we've collectively done is not working. And while the chump is consistently cheating, he's also consistently winning. And I'm not looking forward to his 3rd or 4th terms. And while we all say, oh, that'll never happen, we thought a lot of this shit wasn't going to happen that keeps happening. So I am not looking forward to any of this. What I was looking forward to was returning to the Outside Festival that has been renamed Outside Days. And when I went to the first event, it was at an amazing venue where everything was really, really dialed, and everyone at Outside, from Robin Thurston, the CEO, to Chief Brand Officer Chris Gerard, and everybody knows Chris Gerard as CJ, they were telling me that this was going to be the South by Southwest of outdoor events, and that was the goal. And while they had a lot of pieces in place to make that happen in the first year, I believe, because I really haven't been to South by Southwest, but I believe they had those pieces in place, the event was just an okay festival with a lot of potential. I mean, they had a lot of sponsors there. There's a lot of new activations that weren't totally great, but you could see that they had the framework for the best event that Denver was ever going to have if they had the right bands, because they had everything else pretty dialed and the right people in place. And while I really would have loved to have gone to the Outside event last year, Ange, my wife, was really sick and it was the hardest month of my life. And while rad events are always a great escape, sometimes life comes at you, and when it does, you have to be there, and I was there. So I could not be at the event last year, but on to this year. This will be my second to last event that I cover in a traditional Powell movement man on the street style, and I emailed CJ asking for the same producer badge that he gave me in year 1. This was the most access that a person could get at the Outside Festival. In year one, that's what it was called, and it was incredible to have that kind of access. So I emailed him early on asking for the access, and he's like, I will get you some sort of pass where you can get everywhere. And then earlier in the week, I texted him, I'm like, hey, CJ, can I get that producer pass? He's like, hey, I'm not going to be able to get you this producer pass, but what I will do is get you a speaker pass, and that's going to get you in the green room and anywhere else that you want to go. And if you really, really need to go elsewhere, I will get you in there, but I think you're going to be able to find that this pass will get you everywhere you want to go. So thank you, CJ. It really did. Once I have that little pass, I'm pretty good at getting to the places I need, and I was able to do that. Unfortunately, I did not get to connect with CJ for a soundbite, but I did get some soundbites with random people that I believe are important and I think are important, and I'm going to take you through the weekend and give you a little behind the scenes on what happened at this Outside Days event. But before I do that, I want to thank Elan Skis and Outdoor Research for being longtime sponsors of the podcast. Please check out their ads and buy their products. And now it's time to take a $34 flight to Denver on Frontier Airlines and head to Outside Days. That's right, my flight cost $34 one way from Seattle to Denver on Frontier Airlines, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, the plane was really dirty, but I didn't catch anything. And the whole kind of deal felt like I was flying with a bunch of people that were lined up for a Black Friday sale at Walmart. So if you can imagine that crowd, I am part of it, and it was fine. I get to Denver, I meet up with my buddy Ray, we have a few drinks, and then I head to the hotel to get ready for the second day of the Outside Days Summit and the first day that I will be there. I'm planning on watching a few panel interviews throughout the day, and then I'm going to start sniping people for different interviews. And when I get to the event, the first person that I see, he's probably not the first person that I see by any means, but I eventually run into Outside Interactive founder and CEO Robin Thurston. And while I don't know Robin well, he remembered me from the last time we talked, which was cool. And he seems to be a genuinely nice person who puts his money where his mouth is when it comes to use media to get people outdoors. And it's been evolving over the years. You know, I bring up the Outerverse in our little interview, and you could see his eyes roll when I said that. But he's kind of evolved it to where I think they have everything in the right place. It seems like the brand is doing well, and it was cool to catch up with Robin for a minute.
I'm here with Robin Thurston. Robin, I wasn't here last year, but the first year it was a big event and there were some details that could have been made better. How was it last year?
I mean, last year was amazing. I mean, we had 35,000 people at the consumer event and, close to 1,500 people at the B2B event. So again, we're just building. We just keep building it bigger and bigger. And, this year it's going to be probably north of 45,000 people over the weekend. This event is bigger, more speakers. We added the travel conference as part of this, which is a big, piece of an acquisition that we did last year. And, it just feels great. The vibes feel good.
I mean, it's a full-on, real festival. 3 years ago, when you were telling me this is going to be the South by Southwest of the outdoors industry, I kind of had my doubts because you were messing with the Outerverse and you were messing with a bunch of other stuff. But now you've created that, and this year you've got the bands to prove it. I mean, how does your team feel right about now?
Oh, they feel good. I mean, I think we have a lot of great momentum right now. Like, even the business is doing really well, and I think people are just feeling really good about the brand and all the sort of little pieces and things that we're doing. And this is sort of a culmination of that, right? We bring the community together, we get all the business leaders, the consumers together, and I just think it really speaks to the power of the brand.
Well, you are the top of the brand, and everything starts at the top, and you're doing it right. Thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you at the end.
Thanks, Mike.
After Robin, it was off to a panel on the X Games. Langley McNeil, an athlete that I used to send product to, was hosting the panel, and it was her and Jermey Bloom, the legendary mogul skier and football player, were on stage. While Jeremy is an athlete, he's also a really great speaker, a likable guy, and most importantly, a businessman. And the X Games is going to be big business. Hearing Jeremy talk about X Games League and the teams and what they could cost and where they're going with that, it's going to be crazy. And from what Jeremy said, X Games is back when you look at TV numbers as well. They're doing better than the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, he said, when they look at the X Games, I think, all events last year, which is pretty incredible. And big things are going to keep happening with X Games. And like everything else in the world, while this is all about athletes, it's all about money as well. VC doesn't buy anything to make sure the sport is in good hands. VC buys something to have a return on investment, and they're going to get a huge return on this one. I mean, in Action Sports League, if it works, it could be bigger than hockey all around if they have enough events. And while you look at in hockey, the commissioner there makes about $10 million a year. Will Jermey Bloom be that guy in Action Sports? Well, who knows? It's too early to tell. But after Jermey did his panel event, I was able to catch up with him in the green room and ask a couple questions that he didn't touch on during the panel.
You and your speech, it was great to learn a lot more about the X Games League. A lot of the questions I have are about the team. So we have these athletes that culture means a lot to them, and what they wear and what they do means a ton to them. And we have leagues, and usually when you see a sports team, they have a uniform.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with the athletes in uniforms?
It's a great question and something we thought deeply about, because the last thing we wanted is to have every athlete show up in a soccer jersey and
Right.
look like a soccer team, because these sports have been all about the individual culture and nature of these athletes and showing their own unique personalities. So what's cool is, like, if you're on a team, you got like 5 or 6 different options. You can wear a cutoff, you can wear a worker shirt, you can wear a soccer jersey. If you're a girl, you can wear a sports bra. A lot of our skateboarders want to wear sports bras. So you'll see color themes, but you'll see people show up in individual ways.
So will they be able to keep their brand sponsorships?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like nothing that we would ever do is going to get in the way of their current deals.
Okay.
We're just giving more opportunity. Most of these athletes don't have brand buyouts, right? Like Nyjah Huston has a Nike brand buyout, so he'll be in a Nike shirt in the color of his team. He's not even going to wear a jersey, because we want to protect the revenue making opportunities and the integrity of those sponsorships. I think over time, the Nike athletes, the Vans athletes, those types of things will design their own kit, which will be cool. But in year one, we're going to roll with whatever's best for the athlete.
And what you're doing is really best for the athlete, because we've never seen insurance in action sports ever. I think a Chris Benchetler and Atomic is trying to do it a little bit. And the guys down in Colorado who have that podcast, I can't think of it off the top of my head, they have some insurance, but you're going to give all your athletes a salary and insurance. Are they going to be able to compete in other leagues and other events?
Yep.
Or how does that work?
Yeah, non-exclusive, so they can compete in other leagues, Grand Prix, things like that. They get a health insurance stipend, all of them. They get a salary. They get all their paid travel. In the 30 years history of X Games has never paid travel for athletes, and that's a big number, right, for these athletes. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of the opportunities, the more financial opportunities we're bringing, and to not just the best athletes in the world. It's not just the Elan Skis and the Nyjah Hustons, right? It's 40 of the best athletes, but a lot of these athletes struggle, and they're working second jobs to pay for their sports. Now they're on a salary. Now they can breathe a little bit. They can focus on their craft, and proud to be part of the team that's doing that.
Okay, my last question, how does gambling roll into all of this? Because it's a big part of it in the future. It's going to be huge, and we're going to see people on Saturdays watching X Games and winning $5,000 because they had their parlay with Nyjah and someone else doing something crazy. How exciting and how scary is that all at the same time?
I mean, look, we don't have an opinion on gambling. It's a polarizing topic.
Sure.
But what's clear, we're studying the data. In 2018, sports betting was a $400 million industry. It's now a $26 billion industry. So it's clear fans want to engage that way. So yeah, absolutely. We have betting partners already. I think we're sanctioned in like 30 states. And we'll continue to build what fans want. And for the fans that want to be able to bet, there'll be an opportunity to do that. For the fans that don't want to bet, of course, you don't have to bet. And we'll probably stay away from the prop bets, because prop bets can be influenced by the athletes.
Yep.
And we want the integrity of the sports to stay clean. So we'll probably stay away from some of those controversial prop bet products.
Well, it's been exciting to see what you're doing with X Games. It's been exciting to see what you've done with your career in football, in skiing, and everything. And I thank you for your time. I'll be covering the event in New Orleans in July, so I'll see you there.
Good. See you there.
Thanks, man. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate you.
After I chatted with Jermey, I bumped into Connor Hall. I met Connor at the Festival a month ago. He was there to speak about public lands and what Colorado has done to not have theirs sold off. And while I want to tell you all about Connor's title, I don't really remember it, but I know that I asked him about it in the podcast, so I didn't have to remember it. So we'll jump into Connor's title and a little more right now.
All right, Connor Hall, what's your title?
My title is Director of Colorado's Office of Outdoor Recreation Industry. Just rolls off the tongue.
It does. It's a nice long title that wouldn't fit on the back of a jersey if you needed to put it there, but Hall sure would. And you and I met last month at the Hest event, the Festival, and it was pretty amazing. And we were talking about public lands and how Colorado was able to fight and get their public lands back. Yep. What was going on with that? Because I don't know if the whole country knows, but you guys fought and won, and other people can do that.
Yeah, so I mean, there were a couple things that we did. We, our legislature all got together and passed a bipartisan piece of legislation to say we support and we will protect our public lands. Obviously, the outdoor industry came together in a really strong, clear voice and said, this is unacceptable. And we continue to commit a tremendous amount of resources in this state, $120 million this past year, to recreation and conservation and protecting access to those places, improving access in some places, better stewardship, all those different things. There's been this huge investment across a whole bunch of different programs that in many ways has been led by this new strategy of ours, the Colorado Outdoor Strategy, which is a conservation, recreation, and climate resiliency plan. And so those are just a couple ways that we're just saying, again, with a really clear, loud voice, that these public lands are critical to who we are. They're critical to our outdoor industry.
And when we see with public lands with other states, because you guys have made a difference in your state, and I don't know if this is totally public lands conversation, but in Utah they've got the data center thing that's going on that's going to steal all their water. In California they're spraying pesticides on all the things out there. Our environment's being destroyed, it seemed like, systematically by our government. You're able to protect it a little bit here in Colorado, but what is the end game? What's going to happen here?
Well, again, I think with things like the Colorado Outdoor Strategy, with pretty much bipartisan support, and the vast majority, I think 87% of Coloradans saying conservation is critical as a high priority. We have the wind, under our sails to be able to just make some really clear stands and say that, we're not going to be perfect, but we are going to do everything we can to protect these places. We're going to do everything we can to provide more equitable access. That is, in my mind, in the state of Colorado, that's a pretty clear line for us. So we'll see what that looks like. I won't comment on specific legislation at this point, but I think, again, there's a real clear and fairly united commitment to that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and look forward to seeing some music and drinking some ice cold beverages with you.
Sounds good, my brother. Always good seeing you.
Yeah, you too, man.
That was fun, man.
The next panel I went to see had Rob Katz on there talking. He's the Vail CEO that created the Epic Pass in 2008, and he really changed the business model of the industry. Love him or hate him, there's no doubt that this man changed the ski experience from the resort level more than almost anyone that I can think of. So I listened to Rob talk about building community and culture and experience, and the whole time I'm like, this doesn't sound like the Rob Katz that I've heard about. And I was looking forward to chatting him up after the whole thing. I caught up with Rob as he was leaving the building, and I'm like, hey, Rob, great panel. Can I ask you a couple questions? And he looks at me and he's like, I'm not answering any questions. I just spoke. I'm done with that. And kind of turns his back, walked away, and said it in a really, really smug way. I really thought to myself, what an epic douche. I mean, my questions would have been easy. I wasn't going to ask him about the massive class action lawsuit or the antitrust lawsuits or the crazy ticket prices or the fact that he believes that mega passes don't cause overcrowding at resorts. I wasn't going to bring any of that up, but now I want to, and I just did, because that dude didn't need to be smug with me. He could have just answered a couple questions and we could have gone. I guess he didn't really need to answer any questions either, but if he's all about building community and doing all of that stuff, he could have answered some questions for the community, because I feel like I'm a little bit of a part of that. But either way, thank you for not giving me your time, Rob. I did enjoy listening to your panel, but I don't know if I believe all of that. I hope you take care of your patrollers moving on in the future. So, that didn't happen. Then I went down to have some lunch with a couple of strangers. There was two people from a national PR firm that were based out of Jersey, and then a dude named Peter who's on the board of Lincoln Hills Cares. Peter was like, oh, you're doing a podcast around this event? I'd love to tell you about what I'm doing. And then I looked at him, I'm like, man, this podcast is more about the heavy hitters and putting on a nonprofit that I really don't know about. Maybe that's not the direction that I'm going to go with the podcast this week. But as we were talking, I'm like, you know what? This is actually really important what you're doing, and we can get a couple of minutes of content recorded around it, and I will put it on the podcast so people know about what you're doing and they can help you if they choose to do so. So I recorded with Peter for 3 minutes, and it was really awesome. Like, I look at one of the girls watching as I was recording, and she's nodding her head like we're doing a really, really good job. So I finished recording. I'm like, thank you for doing it. I look at my phone to make sure the recording was saved, and I realized that I never hit record. So we had to do it over. And while it came out pretty good, it wasn't as great as the original was. But sorry, Peter, rookie mistake for a guy who's been doing this for 10 years.
So I'm sitting here with Peter from Lincoln Hills Cares, and Peter, I look out into the audience right here, and the one difference that I see between you, me, and everybody else is skin color. And it's like there's 99% white people here and then 1% other. And when we talk about Lincoln Hills Cares, what you do is getting kids, all different kinds of kids, out in the outdoors and showing them that they belong, right?
That's right.
And you were telling me that recently you've had funding cut, and just the way that things are going is not in your favor, and we need to bring awareness to what Lincoln Hills Cares is doing.
That's right, yeah. I'll tell you a little bit of my personal story. I am connected to the family who originally built Winks Lodge.
And that's a lodge for what?
Yeah, so this lodge served as a resort for African Americans during the time of segregation. This was one of the few places in Denver they could go and be welcome and be safe in the outdoors and vacation there. So my family built that lodge, but I'll tell you, I love the outdoors. I work in tech. I spend a lot of time there, but I don't always feel welcome in the outdoors.
Give us an example.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So last year, my girlfriend and I went to 2 national parks in Utah. We went to Zion and we went to Arches. And we had 2 very different experiences, right? I think in Zion, you're on the bus, you're shoulder to shoulder with so many other guests. Some of them were very welcoming and some of them weren't, right? And perhaps it was just in small ways, right? Small smirks in their face or not speaking. But at Arches, we were in our car and we can't see their faces, their expressions, right? And it was very viscerally different experiences for us in those 2 parks. And you mentioned the difference in the diversity we have here. But what we're doing at Lincoln Hills Cares is we're bringing kids from all different backgrounds up to the mountains to see Winks Lodge, to see the history of people of color thriving in the outdoors, and to see that everyone can be welcome and thrive and enjoy the outdoors in the same way.
And I'm going to ask a question that's going to make it for good podcast fodder. But when you think about not being welcome and you think about discrimination in your life, you've definitely experienced a lot more of that than I will ever have. What's the worst situation that you've been in and how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would say there's a worse situation.
I mean, has the people called you names that's not welcoming before?
Well, let me tell you this. So on the main stage earlier today, there was a speaker who said that whenever he's in the trail, he speaks and says hello to everyone on the trail. As a person of color, that's not an energetic investment I'm willing to make because so few people will return that in kind. When I'm on the trail, my goal is to be present and to enjoy the space. And if people speak to me, that's wonderful, and I'm grateful for that. But I typically don't make the energetic investment of speaking first. And I'll share that's my personal view and not the view, I'm not expressing the views of my organization, but I'll share that with you.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let's see if we recorded at that time.
It's time for my first sponsor break, and I'm going to start with longtime sponsor Elan Skis. And if you haven't skied on an award-winning ripstick yet, you're missing out on something that ski brands have long said wasn't an option. A lightweight ski that powers through anything and truly rips. It's game-changing. And Elan, while they've been around for 80 years, have been changing the game of modern skiing by doing things like adding side cut to straight skis with the Elan SCX, which changed the whole industry. They're building skis by skiers in a place with ski culture in the Slovenian Alps. And most importantly, they're supporting local shops. When the competition goes and starts selling direct, Elan sticks by their retailers who have been by them since the beginning. Elan is just built differently, and they innovate with a purpose, and that's to make your on-snow experience better, easier, and more fun. It's this approach that brought you the Ripstick and all of their award-winning skis. And when you're in the market for a new pair, visit an Elan retailer, demo a pair of their skis, and you'll know why Elan has built a cult following here in the States. To find out more about all the skis or to find an Elan dealer, head on over to elanskis.com. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. So check out Lincoln Hills Cares because it's important to get more people not just outside on the mountain and on the trails, but also making sure that everyone who's getting out there feels like they belong. After lunch, I headed back inside and I bumped into a guy that I don't know really well, but every time I get to see this guy and have a chance to talk to him, I walk away thinking, that dude is such a sweet and nice guy. And Outside Magazine's Paddy O is a rad dude that has battled through some personal demons and he's come out the other side to become a media talent, a dad, and I don't even know what else, but let's chat with Paddy O.
Paddy O, last time I saw you here at Outside Days, it was not called Outside Days, it was Outside Festival, and you had a TV show. What happened to the TV show?
The TV show got put on hiatus because I had a baby. So, who's actually here? She is here today with me, with my wife. She's 16 months old. And then I took over the Outside podcast. So that's what I'm doing. Professional chit-chatting like you, dude.
We're a similar podcast, although I am leaving. I'm going to be out of the podcast game in 12 weeks. It's only going to be you. Is that exciting?
What are you talking about? Where are you going?
I'm quitting. I'm calling it at 500 episodes.
What?
Yeah,
Your voice is gone? What's happening? Are you having throat surgery? I don't understand.
No, the sad story is that my wife and I started it and she died.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it anymore.
I get it.
So that's my, we've all gone through shit. You've gone through shit, but you've come out the other side and you've got this podcast going on.
Yeah.
You get some crazy big time guests. Who's the most exciting or biggest guest that was almost nerve wracking?
Oh, dude, you can't ask me that. I mean, they're all my favorite. But I will say that talking with Nick Offerman was a dream come true because he has a mighty mustache like myself, and I love that man. And also, you can spread his voice on a cracker.
Okay.
It's so smooth.
Yeah.
But like talking with like Honnold, or we just had this guy Anthony Clary, who had one of the most gripping stories about growing up in the inner city in Virginia, and then found running, and it totally changed his life, and he took that energy and actually started this run club called We Off the Couch, which is now providing mentorship and tutorship and all sorts of wonderful things for the community that he's in. So that was really amazing. I got to talk to Jesse Diggins, who's here. I don't know, man. It's every week I get to talk to somebody who's amazing. I can't pick one.
People ask me to do that all the time. So
well, can you answer that?
But I have one that you haven't done that's the most important podcast in the history of skiing, Klaus Obermeyer.
Dude, okay.
But I just go for those ones that are outliers a little bit.
I like
and eventually you will get all those because I'll be gone. So they're all yours. Thank you for your time, Paddy O.
Dude, much love, amigo.
The next panel that I went to was one that featured James Kelly. James is the global head of sports marketing at the North Face, and when I was doing my research before heading to the event, I thought to myself, on paper, this guy has to be one of the coolest business professionals at this event. And when I was able to catch up with him, he didn't disappoint.
So I'm sitting here with James Kelly. I saw you speak earlier. It was a great panel. And just looking at what you've done in your life, Burton, Red Bull, the North Face, what's the most fun?
All of it has been equally fun because of the people that I get to work with, and all of the subject matter that we kind of cover in all of those companies is getting people outside and getting to have fun.
So when you're in the Burton days, are you working with the Johans and the people like that back in the day?
Yeah, this was back in, so I started as a shop kid working in a snowboard shop, and then helped out as a tech rep, and then eventually got hired to work for a rep agency. And so I drove around a van, hooked people up with stickers, cleaned the fixtures, and did all of that kind of stuff here in Colorado. And then, that kind of helped me transition into my next role over at Red Bull. So, but that was back from 1997 to 2001 doing stuff with Burton.
Okay, so in that era of those badass athletes, and then you go to Red Bull, and it's you go from an amazing brand to a brand that's blowing up. Budgets are incredible. Athletes are top of the line, and you're doing stuff that no one else has ever done. What was the most fun you think you had at Red Bull?
Oh, wow.
If you could pick one thing.
Yeah, sure. I was there for 12 years, so of course we got to do a lot of crazy different things. I worked a lot on the event side of things, so putting together huge brand building events and bringing in 50, 60,000 people to come watch our athletes do incredible things was always fun.
Did you do the Vegas stuff? Were you involved in that?
I didn't do Vegas. I did crashed ice. I did the fluke togs, the soapbox races. We supported the things that took place in Vegas with Robbie Madison and stuff like that. But I can't take any credit for it. Did a lot of cool things. Even right here in Denver, we had two of our Red Bull Air Force guys base jump off the Four Seasons into a party. So just it was kind of a place if you could dream it and explain how to do it, they would pretty much say yes. And so, Red Bull gives you wings. They were definitely all about that.
And now it's all about never stop exploring. And you've got 200 of the best athletes in the world. You're on the top of the pyramid of the marketing of the brand with those athletes. Is it hard to keep up with all that's going on these days?
Yeah, my WhatsApp is fairly busy. It kind of operates 24 hours a day. We're really fortunate that we get to put athletes and incredible people all over the world at a moment's notice. And so I'm also super fortunate to have a great internal team that also helps manage these athletes on the day-to-day basis. But last night before I went to bed, I was getting pictures from right now. Here it's Everest Day. It was Everest Day yesterday in Nepal. So two of our athletes flew over to help celebrate with the local community there. We have a bunch of athletes here this weekend speaking and talking about some of their projects here at Outside Days. So there's never really a dull moment.
So you've lived the dream, and you started at the bottom of the industry, sweeping the floors pretty much in a shop. Is that possible to get to where you are now like you did, or is that almost a pipe dream?
I think it's totally possible, and I think people like myself that are sometimes given the ability to help give other people opportunity recognize that in people, right? And so I think that's kind of our job, is to make sure that
you recognize the hustle.
That the underdog gets the chance. And for me, education is super important, but experience sometimes, in our world, like a degree doesn't mean that you know how to get somebody to Nepal there and back safely. And so that's really on the ground experience that gets you that.
While I only got a few minutes with the dude, his enthusiasm and his general stoke on what he's done and the way that he's done it, it was really cool to witness that kind of aura. And I wish I would have known about James a long time ago and I would have done a full episode with him, but I didn't. And the way that this thing's going, I'm ending it in 3 months, so there's not going to be time for me to interview James, unfortunately. But I think I've mentioned I'm going to put out a couple more of my favorite people that I haven't interviewed on, and then I'm going to go with a heavy-hitting list for my last 8 episodes. They'll be like the best episodes I've maybe not ever put on, because you never know how the interviews are going to go. But in terms of guests, it is going to be a heavy-hitting guest list. It is going to be awesome. Let me tell you, I'm pretty excited if you can't tell. But back to Outside Days. I hit one more panel that discussed making product for adaptive people, and that was really interesting, and it brought up just a lot of design ideas that able-bodied people don't even think about. So knowing Roy Tuscany and the High Fives Foundation, I just wanted to hear what those guys were saying about designing stuff, just so I have a little bit more insight on maybe their lives and stuff, because that does interest me, because I really do care about a lot of people that have been through a lot of things. And then it was on to the festival, and I met up with Mike Arts, a guy I interviewed for episode 247 of the podcast. He owns a building in Denver, Battery 21, which is a big co-working space. It's sick. It's got a metal shop, a wood shop. There's so many different brands there and such a cool vibe. It was WeWork before WeWork, but on steroids and way cooler. So I met up with Mike. Mike also has 3 Airstreams. 2 of them were being used at the Outside Days Festival as the green room trailers for all the big bands behind the main stage. But then the other Airstream that Mike had, he had strategically placed next to an activation that he was putting together for, I believe it was Mash Gang, a non-alcoholic beer that's out there that was really good. And we had our own little zone with an Airstream, and people were coming in and out. We were having burgers there. It was really an amazing deal, and I got a lot of sound bites while we were there. The first person that came up was Stix, a guy that I've interviewed before, and I'm going to have Stix describe our setup.
I'm here with Stix. We are at the Outside Days Festival at Mike Art's little compound. Can you tell us where we are right now? Can you kind of describe the scene?
Well, actually, we're outside of literally an educational institution.
We're in a university, right?
Yeah, we are a university. And the fact that there's an Airstream parked here that basically is Rancho Relaxo, if you think about it, because everything we need is right here.
So there's a whole festival going around us, and we are here eating burgers and drinking beer because we have this space that Mike Art secures. How do you go back with Mike Arts?
Actually, Mike and I go back so far. He was actually, back in the day, a Burton guy, and when Airwalk was in its tailspin, all I was told over and over again, you want a guy to help stop the tailspin? It's Mike Arts. And you know what? Easiest hire and best hire ever. As a matter of fact, I always said, this kid's cooler than I am.
So you've worked with him forever. You've also worked with PBR, I think Red Bull, right? And then you did some electric boat thing that you left on your own, first job you ever quit. We'll leave it at that. And Liquid Death, of course. How can I forget Liquid Death, which is like the biggest brand that you've done? And now, are you just going to enjoy life? Or are you going to throw yourself back into way too many projects?
You know what? I've got my hands in a lot. I found that I'm investing in my own personal brand. And then, as I tell everyone, that's the most important thing you have. So I'm working with a lot of different brands, a lot of different industries, and making myself feel uncomfortable. And I'm still learning, and I got to keep learning, right? So that's the exciting part for me, is I've got things, I don't know really what the future holds, but I'm excited about it.
Right after Stix, it was yet another Powell Movement alumni member and now a podcast host, snowboard legend Tricia Byrnes.
Tricia, we interviewed probably 7-8 years ago, and you were comfortable on the mic. You had done a lot of TV stuff, but these days you've got your own podcast and you're killing it with it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so my friend Jennifer Shrowski and I started a snowboard history podcast called Going Off, and we kind of do a deep dive and try to uncover the history of snowboarding, from the history of bindings, half pipes, or even smaller nuggets.
This is as nerdy as it gets in snowboard world. Well, you guys aren't nerds, but you're diving deep into stuff that the regular person doesn't want to know.
Yeah, well, we're not nerds, but
you're nerding out.
We're nerd adjacent. Yeah, we're nerding out with old heads.
Yeah.
And but we're also do like smaller stuff like on Roadkill, like a movie, and then talk to the people who made it and kind of like bring us back in time. I don't know.
Do you talk about hole patterns?
We did.
Yeah.
But I had to learn all of that. Like I wrote like a 15-page essay basically on snowboard bindings, and I'm the kind of girl who like just throws bindings on and is like, let's go. Like I don't even adjust them.
And so what else are you doing in life other than a podcast right now?
I do like some TV production. I'm mostly freelance, and then just still kind of lurking around the snowboard scene, you know, like just, I don't live in life playing pickleball like all the olds.
And then a wild question to ask since I don't know the answer, but are you still married to a famous skateboarder?
Yeah, he's right behind me.
Oh, there we go.
Foster.
There we go. I'm going to get a clip from Cairo Foster too, because I got to get clips here.
Yes.
Perfect. I knew that he looked familiar when he walked up. I'm like, that guy's somebody, but I didn't know he was. I don't skateboard, I rollerblade.
That's awesome.
Cairo Foster, I've been to your house. I interviewed your wife 7 years ago. The podcast is called The Powell Movement. Did you ever listen to that interview? It might have been her first podcast. It was before podcasts were out there.
I might have listened to a little bit, but now that she has her podcast, all I can think of when you talk about Trish and podcasts is like making sure that I listen to her podcast now.
Are you the final ears?
Oh, hell no. I'm not the final ears. I'm just rabid supporter.
All right, so long-time skateboard career.
Yep.
When did the pro part of your skateboarding career end?
I don't know. Like, I skated professionally for 20 years. Maybe like the last 5 years, I was not seeing the writing on the wall, but just like seeing the younger generation come up and like, how do you make space for that? How do you like make way for like progression? And so at the same time of being a pro skater, I was like doing digital marketing, social media marketing, team management for a variety of brands that I rode for. And then at a certain point when I started working at Adidas, I was just like, I talked to Louis because I rode for Enjoy, and I was like, we got to like retire my board. Like, I think that was, I don't know exactly when that was, late teens.
Is it crazy to you looking back that you've made a life of riding a skateboard?
Not crazy. I think if we would have talked about it 10 years ago, I'd say crazy, but now like there's so many people in our circle where you're just like, everyone makes their way doing a variety like freelance type stuff. But I will say like having had my life in like skateboarding for 20 years is really good now that I'm working a corporate job, and I have like a reference point on just like the things that are valuable in life. Like I want to do a good job at where I work, but I also am like, there's so many things that are outside of your work life that are important.
All right, man. Well, thank you for your perspective and thank you for your time.
Of course.
What was cool was after that clip with Cairo, we chatted for like 45 minutes. And I keep saying this about the people that I met at the Outside Days event, but what a cool guy. And I guess this whole industry brings together really cool people, but this guy's a legendary skateboarder, sure. But he was just an easy to talk to guy, and his head and priorities were definitely in the right place. An interesting fact, while you may think of Cairo doing desk work for Adidas Skateboarding after his full-on career ended, he now works for Crocs and he loves it there, and it was cool to talk to him about that brand and his job there. He's like, seems genuinely stoked on what he's doing and on life, and that is really, really awesome. After I spoke with Cairo, I went to take a lap around the venue, which had hundreds of different brand activations that were all really well thought out and cool. If you're a person that wants to get free stuff at events like these, like free stuff that you can actually use, like sick backpacks and hats, this is the event to be at. Every brand was giving away something good. And some brands brought out athletes from all kinds of different sports to this thing. And I was walking around the event with a crew of people from the Public Works, and I looked at them and I was like, hey, if you guys see anyone that I should interview that I don't see, please let me know. Then one of the guys from the Public Works, Marshall, he looks at me and he's like, that's Andrew Cotty. And I'm like, that's who? And he's like, he's the big wave surfer from 100 Foot Wave. And I was like, no, I interviewed that guy, Garrett Reynolds. And he's like, no, this dude is the Irish guy who is a plumber or something. And now he's rocking a Red Bull hat and he's living the dream. And I'm like, shit, I need to chat him up. So I went over and I got a couple words with Andrew Cotty. It's called the Powell Movement.
So my eyes are so bad.
Oh yeah, you're getting old, huh? I do the same thing. It's called the Powell Movement. And like a bowel movement, it's like a poop. My last name's Powell, so it's a poop joke, and it's like time to talk shit. So time to talk shit with you. You come over here, you're a big wave surfer in the middle of the mountains. Does anybody know who you are here other than our crew?
I doubt it, no. But that doesn't matter. I'm just enjoying it. Yeah, I'm fun.
And so you're coming off a shoulder surgery. You said how far are you along in your rehab?
I had a ruptured tendon in my shoulder, and they repaired it about 8 weeks ago. So I came out of a sling about 4 weeks ago, so I'm just starting passive movements.
And you have to be, for what you do, you're dialed in, 100% locked in. You need to be 100% on everything, huh?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. But I think everyone or every athlete you're always battling like little injuries or niggles, you know. Like my shoulder's been a problem for a while, so just over time, and you know, I had to get the operation in the end. So, but it is what it is.
So you're like the best Irish big wave surfer in the world. Does that mean you pound Guinness at night as well?
I used to a long time ago, but not anymore.
You can't do that. Just you got to be more focused, more of an athlete.
Well, I think it just gets harder. Past 35.
Yeah.
The drinking takes the backseat, and I'm 46 now. And I think Garrett's like 57, still surfing. I think I'd like to still be surfing big waves at 60, you know?
Yeah, man, that's incredible. Well, thank you for your time. Have a great weekend here.
Right.
Enjoy the music.
Thank you. Cheers, man.
It's time for my second round of sponsors, and my final sponsor this round is Outdoor Research. And while I have long loved OR because they make the best, most waterproof, warmest outerwear in the world that's engineered and tested right here in the miserable conditions that the Pacific Northwest can deliver, that's just what OR makes in the winter. And while everyone out there knows that OR makes the best lightweight hiking pants ever built, the men's and women's freewheel mountain bike collection, a collection of high-performance bike apparel, is setting the standard for functional and durable mountain bike gear. Every detail has been thought of, so you don't have to think about the fit of your gear. You can focus on the terrain and getting yourself into your flow state. Those are my sponsors. Now let's jump back into the podcast. It's time to return to dirt, and OR has the trail-ready gear to get you out there in comfort and style. To upgrade your fit, head on over to outdoorresearch.com and check out the Freewheel collection. Those are my sponsors. Now let's jump back into the podcast. After that, it was all about having cold ones with Arts and the crew. I heard Japanese Breakfast and Goth Babe from the Airstream, and then I went and saw Death Cab. And that was really sad, and I knew some of the songs were going to make me cry. And the thing about that, I must have cried like 4 times a day at this event that I went to, so probably 8 times over 2 days. But seeing so many people that I haven't seen in a while, and all of them would ask about Ange or ask how I was doing or give me that extra long hug, and all of those things, sometimes trigger me and make me cry. But what I'm finding is that even though they make me cry, I'm able to pull my shit back together within minutes, and I'm not like a mess like I used to be. So that was really great, and all in all, it was a really, really solid day for day one. The music, the vibe, the people, everything was awesome. And Outside really nailed this one. Going into day 2, I felt really good about the content that I'd captured, and I realized that I'd only need a few more clips on day 2 and I'd be dialed. I started the day in the green room, and I ran into Outside's editorial director of lifestyle and old friend Sierra Shafer to get more detail on this year's event. And I don't even remember what else we talked about, but we did talk about some other fun things, so here is Sierra.
Sierra, we are sitting out here, a beautiful day in Denver. Day 1 was fantastic yesterday. It was a new venue for you guys. What kind of challenges does that put for an event like this? It's millions of dollars in the putting together, and you have to relocate it. What does that do to the team?
It's super exciting, but it is a little disorienting because this venue is so huge, which is great because it can accommodate so many more guests and people and activations. But it has taken us a little while to find the bathrooms. But once you've located them, smooth sailing from there.
All right, so finding the bathrooms is the only issue that we've heard about. And I was here all yesterday. Everybody had an amazing time. Did you see all the music?
I did. That was so fun. I just actually talked to Griff from Goth Babe. I'd never seen them live before. I'd seen their park sessions video project they did with Outside. They were so great live. Japanese Breakfast was amazing, but I definitely was holding out for Death Cab, and that just really took me back to like a special time in my life, and it was so fun to see them, and the crowd was amazing. It was totally packed on a Friday night, which was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really did an amazing job on day 1. I expect the same thing for the next 2 days. Tonight, what is the big band?
I think tonight is My Morning Jacket, and then Cage the Elephant on Sunday.
Oh, I'm gonna miss them.
But yeah, such good lineup. Dawes is playing, and I'm also looking forward to seeing Tosh Sultana later in the weekend. So such good music. I'm always really impressed that we get these amazing acts, and it's so fun to see like all the crowds they bring out.
And you are an employee here. Are you able to party and have fun, or do you have to work a little bit?
I may have had to excuse myself a little bit early last night because it's a long game. You know, we're here for 3 nights. We've added this extra day to the festival this year. But yes, after the work, we all get to play. It's really nice because we're a remote company, so we're not all together very often. So it's really nice not just to see all of the guests and fans and people coming to the festival, but to see all my amazing coworkers that I've, you know, a lot of them I've worked with for years, and we see each other maybe once or twice every so often. So it's great to all be together and kind of enjoying the fruits of the labor of the team for sure.
Well, labor of the team is the business, and I said I wouldn't ask any hard-hitting questions, and I'm not. But Robin, I talked to him, and he was saying that not only is the festival doing great, the business is doing great. And I didn't want to probe into him and ask, what does that mean? But does that mean you're selling more magazines? Does it mean online subscriptions? Does it mean, how's the revenue coming in these days?
I think with the subscription model, it's been really great to see that pick up. And, you know, it's not just the content that we're producing, which is, you know, what I touch every day from all the different amazing brands, but all of the, you know, the mapping pieces and the travel pieces. And it's great to see kind of holistically people starting to understand that subscription model and the benefits of it. So yeah, the Outside Plus membership is like totally taking off. It's working for us, and it's able to kind of foot the bill for us to tell all of the amazing stories and do all the amazing editorial projects that are so core to the brands too.
Well, people are trained now. It's not even the subscription model, it's the model, right?
Right, it's the only model. Everything is something plus, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to see that working for us, and it's been a long time coming, but I'm super excited to see it kind of taking root and propelling us forward.
After Sierra, I went back to the green room and I walk in to see Jeremy Jones, Travis Rice, and Katie Burrell. If I could get 3 sound bites here, I could finish the podcast sooner than later. But they were prepping for their panel event, and I didn't want to bother them while they were doing that. So I ate a sub, and then I headed out to the Atomic booth and saw one of the most talented and kind people in the ski business, a guy I've known since 2005, legendary athlete, artist, director, producer, a dude who creates so much magic it's unreal, Chris Benchetler.
All right, I am here with Chris Benchetler. Mountains on the Moon is your movie that's premiering to a lot.
Do you want to start over? It's Mountains of the Moon.
Chris, I don't want to start over, but it is Mountains of the Moon. I make mistakes sometimes, and I just put them in the podcast there, Chris.
That's okay.
So either way, your movie's being played to a live score tonight. That's pretty exciting. How many live scores have you done so far?
I don't have that number on top of the head, but 10 to 20.
Okay.
Yes.
And the
busy.
experience when it's a live score movie, how much different is it than what we're used to?
The easiest way to say it is it makes you feel the movie versus just seeing it. And so it kind of just brings a bit different energy to it. It's really fun.
And speaking about energy, we are talking about you being busy all the time. You said it's self-inflicted. What projects do you have on the radar right now?
I'm seeing this film through, and I have a lot of plans for it still to keep the life going, but I am approaching 20 years with Atomic, and I'm marinating on a lot of ideas for that, because as we enter into next season, we'll need to start filming for it. So
that is very exciting. Another thing that's exciting is music, because we're here at a music festival. You've done so much with the Grateful Dead, so I want to not include them. But outside of the Dead, what has been your best concert experience?
Best concert experience outside the Dead? I can't think off the top of my head, but I will say Eagles in the Sphere.
Chris's movie was playing in a little bit, so I left Chris. I went to the green room to see if there was anyone there to chat with, and eventually Jeremy Jones shows back up 15 minutes before Chris's movie is set to play. Jeremy and I were backstage, and we were trying to find our way onto the stage or somewhere where we could watch from the side of the stage, but we weren't able to find that. So as we're trying to find our way to the stage, I get one question with Jeremy.
Yeah, we'll try to figure it out. So I'm walking with Jeremy Jones. We're trying to get into Benchetler's show right now. Jeremy, outside of the Grateful Dead, what's the best concert you've ever been to, or most fun?
Jerry Garcia Band.
Okay. Well, outside of like the Grateful Dead families.
God. Most recently, I would say Lucas Nelson or Eddie Vedder.
Fair enough. I'm only going to trouble you with that one question, because we're going to go see Chris.
Yeah, I want to go see Band.
We can't find our way to the green room through the bowels of the building, so we head back over to where the real line was, and it was a huge line. But I saw the whole Atomic team, and I just jumped into their group to check out the movie with them. As I'm walking in, I get longtime pro skier and another friend, Amie Engerbretson, to tell us about the big changes in her life.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, we are here at the Outside Days Festival with Amie Engerbretson. We have not seen each other in a long time. Amie, you are getting married very soon. Are you going to be Amie Engerbretson Laguerre, or are you going to be, what are you going to do with your name? Are you going to keep your own name?
This is such a good question that's come up a lot. I feel like Engerbretson is a name that should not be hyphenated because it's already very long. I don't know, actually. It's kind of funny. My dad is kind of bummed about it. He's like, are you going to change your name? And like my first reaction is like, yes, I want to change my name. Mostly for like admin reasons. Like I don't want to keep spelling Engerbretson all the time.
Yep.
So I think my loose plan is to keep my name professionally, like forward facing, but then change my name legally so that like I have the same name as my kids. And like at least Laguerre is still a ski name. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you like Amie Laguerre?
I mean, if you were Amie Laguerre, I think you should coin the name Big Air Laguerre and take it from Todd.
Take it from Todd?
And
yeah,
make
Todd.
it your own.
Okay. If I do take Laguerre, I guess I have to start hooking some bigger cliffs.
That would be true. So we have, 3 weeks or so until your wedding, and are you stressed?
Yes, I am stressed. I'm doing more of the planning than Todd, believe it or not, but it's going to be fun. I'm planning to throw backflips in my father-daughter dance, and it's going to be a party. We haven't even planned. We should get a shot ski for the wedding.
You should get a shot ski for the wedding. Well, it's time to go in to see Benchetler's movie, but I'm excited for you. Congratulations. It's always great to see Amie, and what else was great was this movie. The way we saw it, it was live scored with a dead cover band, and all I could say was that it was the most incredible ski movie experience that I've ever had, and that's a bold statement. Well, everyone should watch Mountains of the Moon, because what Chris and team was able to do with light and color is something that I've never seen before in the mountains or in the water. If you get a chance to see this with a live score, do it. It's worth seeing it again. And speaking of seeing something, it's almost time for the Flaming Lips to play. I head towards the stage area. I run into Micah Abrams from outside, Jeremy Jones, and Katie Burrell. I didn't get a chance to meet Katie because Jeremy Jones started walking towards the crowd to go see the show. I headed in as well, and I looked back and no one else was there, which was strange. So I ended up watching the Flaming Lips with Jeremy Jones. We had a few beers, chatted about my next project. Actually, I shared a lot of secrets that I shouldn't have with Jeremy, but I don't think he's going to share them with anyone else. But it was just surreal, as Jeremy's just a dude I'm drinking beers with, but it was also like I'm drinking beers with Jeremy Jones. It was so crazy. We watched that band. They were really, really awesome. Then he came back to the Airstream and hung out with the crew for a few hours. And the funniest thing about that was there were these teenagers and they were sitting down and they're like, "You're Jeremy who?" And I'm like, "He's Jeremy Jones. He might be like one of the most famous and important snowboarders ever." And they're like, "Have you ever won the X Games?" And he looks at them and he's like, "No." And they just both put their heads down and start looking at their phones. I had to be like, no, he really is one of the most important snowboarders and most badass snowboarders ever. And they really didn't seem to care after the X Games thing. I think Jeremy thought that was funny too. From there, I hung out with Mike Arts until very, very late. And then it was time to pack up and head to the airport at 6 a.m. so I could get home by noon and edit and make this podcast happen. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm not going to be able to re-record anything. Everything's one shot right here. And we're trying to get this out on the same day because it's all about getting the content out fast. So what am I leaving out? Outdoors Festival was awesome. If you're in Denver or if you're going to make a trip because they have a band next year that you really, really want to see live, this trip is worth it. They really did deliver an amazing festival. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see Cage the Elephant tonight because I'm going to be posting this podcast right about the time that they go on stage. But they were the one band that I did want to see, but I wouldn't have gotten this content out if I would have stayed in Denver. So I hope you like this episode. My second to last live event episode. My last one will be at the X Games Championship, the X Games League Championship, that is, in July in New Orleans, and that should be an interesting one as well. We'll see what this X Games League is all about. That's the show. At this point, please support my incredible sponsors, their Outdoor Research and Elan Skis. Thank you again to all the people at Outside Media who made this event so awesome for me and experience awesome for me. I hope I was able to give you guys a great behind the scenes for it, and have a great week, everyone.